Thank you so much, Aniket sir, and thank you, Leaf Foundation, for creating this unique series. I'm quite excited to discuss my work in this forum. My practice has been very young practice, and it has been journey for 6-7 years. In these years of mine, many gathered experiences have become my learnings. When I look back and try to read these experiences, I find myself into continuous search of something. I call it seamlessness. I am repeatedly inspired by the phenomena that happens around us on a daily basis or on a seasonal basis. The way this flowering of the grasses, which looks still yet dynamic, and at the same time the way we look at the terracing and the farming patterns, I observe how things can be done so simple and aesthetically so appealing. I feel few human interventions become so unique in itself. One wonders whether it is part of it or distinct with the surroundings. The boundaries and barriers become sometimes so blur that our human actions, we may call it intrusive or inclusive of the space. The streets become part of the living when one takes care of it with lot of love and dedication, and it defines the sense of the living itself. Sometimes seasonal changes add new dimension to the space, like changing texture of the place, the colors of the space, and it really makes things more beautiful visually. Sometimes nature becomes part of our built environment and defines the character of the space. The way these natural creeper canopies have created the space beneath it. While natural and man-made starts looking one, when any kind of human intervention starts syncing with the topography, all in all, where everything looks seamless. My design process is a non-linear one, where I practice with immense joy of making, where I involve and participate myself in the building practices, be it arranging the laterite blocks for the paving or locating the large boulders into the site or into the landscape. I try to involve myself with the conversation that happens at site, engaging myself with the conversation and discussing various aspects of the site, which really folds and unfolds the design process. There is a joy in witnessing this process of making, which defines my practice. I would like to share this experience through few of my projects. To start with, first, a natural ice cream parlor in Juhu. The brief given was to create a unique experience with nature as the brand called Naturals. The site is a triangular pot with a narrow marginal space of 5 to 6 feet, which was the only outdoor area of the experience. The design aimed that it should look less like a store and more like a park. That was very challenging, and we started this whole approach to create an enclosure which cuts oneself from the hustle bustle of the city. The idea was to create the canopy where the structures becomes almost invisible and the creepers take over the space. It was detailed in such a manner that simple rectangular frames connected with thin wires will allow the creepers to go over it and make the space. While doing this, we realized that what if we could explore the floor too? As part of this whole experience, we imagine what would it feel while walking over the greenery. That would surely give a different dimension to the space. We further developed this idea and made the customized wire mesh panels and detail in a way so that it could be easily maintained. Being a commercial property, it was important part to consider the maintenance where one could water the pots or clean accordingly and easy to lift. We placed around 450 pots beneath the jali and created the floor surface to walk over it. This is what the space has grown to. It has almost become a cocoon which gives a unique experiences. The light penetrating through these creepers create an interesting patterns on the various surfaces of the space. The punches in the canopies bring back to memories of walk in the woods. The twisted branches takes me back to the space that I was inspired earlier. The next project is BKC Sculpture Plaza. The site is located at Kalanagar Junction, which is one of the most busiest junction in Mumbai. The site was envisaged to be an entry point to BKC. The vision and the design of the sculpture was already finalized before we came on the board. The site is surrounded by the roads from all the three sides and there is a constant vehicular movement. This area is not only busy in terms of vehicular traffic but also pedestrian movement, where one daily commutes from one end to other end of the space. This made us realize that we should create a space which will become a pause point for the daily commuters. We did a quick study to understand how the traffic islands were treated and imagined. We realized most of them were either non-accessible, non-interactive, and almost felt like it was a leftover space in the city. The existing site was almost treated in the similar manner. It was in a state of abandon. The entire island was divided into three parts: paved, green and utility areas like toilet block and bus stops. These all three operated spaces act as independent entities. The existing garden was a non-interactive space and was treated like a so-called green patch. We thought of spreading these green areas evenly throughout the plaza. The benches we were very well placed and designed, which looked as if it emerged from the BKC sculpture. Even the paving was evolved from the geometry of the sculpture. The benches was carefully placed near and under the trees, as well as facing the sculpture. The plaza now functions as one entity where one enjoys the different experiences of pausing. So this is how that space has come up. The space allows one to sit for a while. We imagined this place where one can have a quick nap, lunch, chat, read, discuss or write. The lighting was also carefully designed with a set of simple linear poles so that it could lit the space evenly in the night. So it was also important that it doesn't look bright and stand out within the space and almost create an extension of the BKC's corporate structure language of the extension. Last project that I would like to talk about is Avsar Academy. This project is a very important part of my learning curve and the way I practice. Just to brief you about this project, this is a residential school for young girls located into the outskirts of the Pune. This project had various collaborators with architect Case Design, Rameshwarji, Abhijit, Pandya, Malika Mama. These are the few important people which helped us in shaping this project. This 4-acre land is nestled in the sloping hills surrounded by farmlands and fields. When we went for the first time to the site, the land looked like this. We realized there is no electricity, no water connection, eroded soil, the rocky substrata, a small or almost no funds for the landscape and no formal landscape contractor. as one conventionally look at it, that how do we start the landscape design or how do we start the process of landscape implementation, we started doing a boundary tree plantation, thinking of that, the trees will grow and eventually we can create a more greener space parallel when the buildings come up, which became a starting point of the project. We planted the trees and realized that how do we water them? So we saw a blasted block or a hole in the space where the water was filled due to the rainwater. Sort of, then how do we pull the water? That was again a next question to it. So this is this kind of small jugaad where you pull the water through the availability of the bucket. Again, there is no source that we can pull the water. So these were the few realizations that made that how do we go ahead with the developing of the site. We did a basic slope analysis and tried to create or tap primary streams running through the site. We did lot of water related studies. Various options were explored that could allow us to harvest the water, like mini check dams, or either we do rainwater harvesting pond, swales. They were part of continuous explorations. The master plan kept evolving with the time and conversation that happened with the various collaborators. It was never constant. We always had little bit shifting here and there, arrangement and locating every aspect of the landscape or considering the built form also. While developing the site, the prime focus was to use local resource and techniques which would be cost effective as well as appropriate for the site. Costing was very critical concern, which shaped landscape strategies like local farming, local construction methodology, setting up plant nursery. So these were the few things that we thought that these were most appropriate to do for this kind of site. Water management plant was developed in reference with the previous studies that we made, which I would like to explain in detail. These rectangular blue boxes are the landscape tanks, the linear lines are aqueducts, location of existing pond and polishing pond. The only source of resource of the water at the site was the well. So we started dredging and constructing well as part of the first program of implementation regarding the water. So this is a diesel pump operated dredging device which was locally sourced and used for cleaning up the pond. So this is how they cleaned up the pond and dirt beneath the bottom of the well, which was laying for years. We involved local people who knew how to construct well. They exactly knew which is the best time to clean and make the well. We gradually formalized the well. So this kind of small interaction that help sketches or no formal drawings, that we almost did everything on site, measuring it, calculating the depth of the water. All of this happened with constant being at the site and collaborating with the local people. While in conversation with local farmers, we adopted the traditional irrigation system of aqueduct that carries the water to the orchard. We thought this could be very important part because the site is sloping. So we created a network of aqueducts and water tanks at various intervals which can irrigate the landscape areas through help of the gravity. There is a small video regarding this water channel.
Inspiration from the local farmers and the way that they utilized it and the way that they processed it and distributed it across their land. And so for us, it became a really important element to understand as a sort of life source for the campus.
One of the other aspect is that we thought that polishing pond, which is like a grey water pond, which is at the lowest point of the site, where the grey water from the toilets filters through the reed bed and collected here. We, as you see, that there's no human resources, so we ourselves had to be participate in marking, calculating the slope. This all happened on the site, and on spot on decisions were taken with the local people. So one of the other aspect, that being on hardy strata of the site, we had to do a plastic lining in order to hold the water. This water is again reused for the landscape irrigation. This is what it looks when there's a full occupancy in the campus. Soil moisture was another key aspect, where the existing topsoil was eroded due to runoff. With the use of simple technique of pitching the boulders that came out of the excavation, this helped us in retaining the soil moisture, as well as it allowed to establish the growth of the plant. So this was again a very simple way of looking at things, where you reduce the source, you reduce the energy, and you reduce the cost. So these were the few things which really helped in shaping the land. Due to this, the soil moisture was retained during the course of time, and we started introducing vegetable farmings, which become part of the daily routine. Being a residential school, the canteen was part of the daily meals. We started using different cropping patterns with the knowledge from the local farmers. So daily crops like palak, fenugreek or methi, chilies, tomatoes were planted, so that can be used for the daily meals. During initial stage of design process, the planting, we were very important part of the campus. We parallelly started setting up the nursery so that it could be cost effective when we buy a smaller plant. Planting design was carefully made, keeping in mind with all the factors at the site. We tried using lot of hardy species and bulbous plant that could multiply in course of time, and we can use them all over the site. The planting happened in various stages. As and when the building was built, we started shaping around the build forms. So these are the few planting plants that we designed. The process of the planting was very unique, so we thought that once we buy the plants, that is a different story. What we do and how do we space plant it? So we designed the space with a mixed planting, which only not gives the character of the space, but also the variety it offers into the campus. So during a conversation with the local team, we realized that with all the bulbous plants which have multiplied with every year, we can uproot it during the monsoon when the soil is loose, and this will allow us to save the cost, where 2 bulbous plant becomes 3 or 4 and every year, and then we can plant it all over the campus. Few cuttings were cut so that can plant it at the right time during the monsoon, and then again be part of the planting process. Girls, the most important part of the campus, were very much engaging. They developed and understood this whole business of how do we maintain our gardens. So they involved themselves and started bringing up teams that can maintain few parts of the landscape areas. I think this is very important and valuable point, that how this campus is shaped and promoting the whole idea of leadership for the girls. Hardscape again was very, very important. So during this conversation with the stone people, we spoke about the Piconis type of pattern, which we thought that could be interesting to do something here in the campus. Then it was suggested by him that what if we use the wastage that comes from the quarries, that can be used as a part of the paving pattern. So this is what the campus looks like. paving pattern, the planting, the outdoor learning, which is constant part of the campus living. I would like to end this with the material palette for my upcoming project at Andaman Nicobar Islands. I hope these learnings and experiences continue to inspire us and carry on. Thank you so much